I am so angry with myself. I'm really, really angry with myself. Okay. Hello everyone, I'm Anime Freak and welcome to the video. Oh god, I hate myself. Okay, I'll get straight to the point. Okay, what it is, I actually planned on doing a... Well, actually, I already did, like, this collaboration with a YouTuber called Richard. And, we was gonna do, like, you know, the DuckTales, we was gonna do a review of the new DuckTales episode 1, and I think it was 2. And let me tell you something. I've seen the episode, and let me tell you guys something. It was a good episode. I mean, like a really really good episode. And Richard got in contact with me and says, "Hey, listen, Anime Freak. Do you want to go? Do you want to like do a collab review on the new Ducktales?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'll do it," because, you know, I mean, well, me and him, we were we're Ducktales fans. I mean, I grew up with Ducktales when I was younger, and I was excited, raring to go, and I had my like doubts on it, and I was like, okay, so let's see what we're gonna do. So we got set up, and we was raring to go, and yeah, I screwed up. I really really screwed up on this, because here's the thing. I recorded Richard where he was, but I didn't record my voice into the mic. So really, do you know how long it took us to, you know, do this review? It took us nearly an hour and 20 freaking minutes. You know, we was like talking about, like, oh wow, it was good. I mean, I loved how they brought in this. I says, oh, I like how, like, the boys were, you know, like, different, and it was a really really fun discussion that we was talking about the new Ducktales, and I was actually, you know, I loved the episodes. Well, if you count, like, is it like one? Is like one with two? Well, anyways, it was it was a really good, episode, and I was like really, you know, happy that I actually watched it. The new Ducktales series is really really good, and I really really enjoyed it. And you know, having, like, you know, talk with Richard, you know, say, oh yeah, oh yeah, this was great. Oh, I like this. I mean, there's a few nitpicks there and there, but yeah, only nitpicks. That's the only thing that was wrong with it, with this series. I mean, they're only nitpicks. You know, like the little teensy little nitpicks. They think, yeah, there's a little problem there, but, you know, I mean, there were big ones. You know, other than the nitpicks, these two episodes were fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Nitpicks, I mean, you know, get those nitpicks and throw and sweep them under the rug, because these two episodes were absolutely fantastic. David Tennant's voice, the comedy, the the mystery. Well, I won't say it's a mystery, but the last 2 minutes of the episode. Oh my god, we get to, if you haven't seen the episode, I suggest you go and see it. Let's just say the last 2 minutes were freaking amazing. We finally get to see who Huey, Dewey, and Louie's parents are. It's awesome, and yeah, a little bit of a spoiler there for you, and it was a good episode, both episodes, and actually talking with Richard, yeah, it was fun. I was happy that I could actually talk to him, but like an idiot, I forgot to make sure that I was recording myself as I was talking to him, and yeah, it's a. Let me tell you something. I have tried to, like, reenact of what we was talking about, but for the life of me, I cannot remember what I said to him. For the life of me, and, you know, saying, like, it's like 1 hour and like 20 minutes. Yeah, I actually tried, and I just for the life of me, I could not remember for the life of me. I do apologize. I am really, really sorry because I really wanted to actually do this. Talk about it and give my reviews. And it, I will say this: the episodes were fantastic, both of them. Again, so it was funny. It gave us a little bit of gave us a little bit of mystery. The Huey doing Louie, that was, I mean, it was funny. The oh let's see, oh and the voice acting was great. It was just fantastic. I really, really loved DuckTales. The new DuckTales are absolutely fantastic. But sadly, again, I screwed up. I screwed up big time. And guys, I do apologize. I'm really, really sorry. And to be honest, I was actually thinking of like doing this as a common thing with Richard, because we're both Ducktales fans, and I really wanted to show you guys our what we thought about the episode and all that stuff. However, there is one thing. Again, I recorded Richard's voice, but I didn't record my voice. So this is what I've done. I'm going to upload the discussion me and Richard said. So you'll listen to what he said, but you won't hear me what I said. So yeah, if you, it's gonna be a 1 hour 20 minute thing. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the episode, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Hello everyone. My name is Richard Korakanobi. No problem. Thanks for having me. It's just an amazing time to be a Ducktales fan. Yes, I'm right there with you, brother. I mean, I myself was a little nervous when I heard they were remaking DuckTales because it's something I grew up with. It was one of the many 90s cartoons that got me through the 90s, and I hold it close to my heart. And I was a little nervous, but I was at the same time optimistic. And when I saw the images and when I saw the voice talent, I was like, okay, maybe I can get behind this. And then when I saw the trailer, I knew it was going to be good. So, yes, after I saw the premiere myself, I was like, they did it. DuckTales is back. That's all I got to say. It's back, and the first episode was just amazing. Yeah. Yes, of course. So the first half of this episode begins where we're in Deathburg, and we see Donald getting ready for a job interview, and he's of course having trouble with his two nephews, Huey and Louie. Yeah, 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 yes. Exactly. I'm right there with you. I mean, you kind of have to put DuckTales in a new modern day because if you stick it in the 90s, it's kind of going to be unrelatable to kids nowadays because then they're going to be like, "Oh, it's a cartoon that takes place in the 90s. That doesn't relate to us." So, I don't mind that it takes place in modern day and I actually do like it. And yes, it hearing Donald Duck again is amazing, and he's voiced by the same actor who voiced him in the original DuckTales. I'm right there with you. I mean, yeah, that's probably his Donald Duck was kind of a little hard to understand in this, and it was probably so bad that if you watch this on the Disney XD app, they actually put subtitles so you can actually read what Donald Duck is saying. Yeah, Y- yeah, but so then we basically continue on where okay, so Donald's getting ready to leave for the job interview, and he's hesitant on leaving the boys, but then the boys convince him, no, 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 go ahead, go, we'll be fine. And then and then the boat starts, and then we see that it's Dewey, and he was planning on taking them out of Duckburg, and so the boys get busted. Yes, Dewey is just so we don't get confused. Huey is the one in red, Dewey is the one in blue, and Louie is the one in green. Yes. Da 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 tailspin. Yes, I was marking out my. I was just, or tailspin. Oh my god. Yeah, I, I know. We got so many more references coming. Uh, yeah, so then after that, Donald's pretty much had enough. He says, "I can't leave you boys alone. I'm gonna take you to Scrooge McDuck." And the boys are freaking out. And I one of my favorite lines is when Louis says, "You're finally gonna sell us." Yeah, and we actually find out why they don't visit. So it is kind of explained why Scrooge and Donald and his nephews really don't see each other. So that'll be explained later. Yeah. Yes, where the terror that flaps in the night, Darkwing Duck lives. Yeah. Yes, and it also has been confirmed that Darkwing Duck will appear in this new series of DuckTales. So, so yeah, well, I think they're actually probably going to bring back some of the Disney afternoon shows and kind of create a TV universe, which would be good. Yes. Yeah, where they all exist in one universe. Again, that would be awesome. Yes, they did, and more recently in the new DuckTales comics, before this one, there was a crossover issue where Darkwing and Launchpad go to see Scrooge McDuck and his nephews, and they all team up to take down a villain. Yeah, yeah. It's our, yes, I do believe it was the 10th or 11th Doctor, and he's also famous for playing the Purple Man on Jessica Jones on the Marvel Netflix series. Oh, trust me, it's pretty polarizing. Yes, it is, and we actually see something that I actually like in this series because we're gonna see this a lot in this new series. Is that this series is gonna take the comic style approach to Scrooge McDuck because when we first see Scrooge, he's bored at his own board meeting and he's no longer an adventurer anymore, and yes, exactly. No pun intended. So then we also see his money bin isn't as full as it used to be. Like you can actually see there's a little bit of dust and he only takes out maybe a couple of change. So his money bin is not as full with more money, I guess you could say. So that's going to be interesting. So then of course we see he's leaving and his chauffeur is Launchpad. Yes, which I love on how this series doesn't just make Launchpad the pilot. He's also his chauffeur. It has been confirmed we're gonna see Duckworth, but I was a little interested to see why he's not in this first episode. But maybe we'll see him, but maybe he just gets hired later on, because from what it looks like, Mrs. Beakley and Launchpad have been working for Scrooge for maybe a couple of years. So maybe this is before Duckworth comes aboard. Yes, exactly, which was kind of disappointing. In That's the one thing I really wanted in the original, is that could we just see Launchpad maybe pilot a submarine or drive a car, or because we never got to see that. We No, because as far as I remember, I rewatched all four seasons of DuckTales recently. It would Launchpad would always be the pilot, and Duckworth would always be the driver. So I like on how here it's all Launchpad. Uh, yeah, it does, and again, it shows that they're willing to take the characters and put them in new places that the old show didn't. So I really do like on how we're gonna get more variety this time around. Yeah, and then we basically go on, and Scrooge goes back to his manor, and Donald is there waiting for him. And cheap jalopy out of my driveway. Um, well, like I said, I'm pretty like I'll explain this towards the end, but there is a reason. And I picked up on this, and this is gonna be the big mystery of this new series. So, yeah. So again, they see each other. They're not happy. Like Donald's not happy to see him, but he says, how are you? Are you still the richest duck in the world? And he's pretty much telling Uncle Scrooge, "Okay, I have to go to a job interview. So why are you here yelling?" And Donald says, "I need a babysitter. So can you watch my kids, watch my nephews?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then he doesn't even realize what he just said yes to. Yeah, so yes, I know. And then after that, we see that okay, the boys go into the mansion. They're just flabbergasted by all of this stuff they're seeing. We see paintings. We see in one moment we see a lick. We see a pair of apples in a bowl with diamonds in it. So we basically just see like, yeah, Scrooge has all of this old stuff of all the adventures he's been on, and then Mrs. Beakley is trying to get Uncle Scrooge to talk to his nephews, and he's so out of tune with them. Like he even asks, "Do kids still play with marbles?" Yeah, exactly. Like it's funny because Scrooge McDuck is so out of touch with a modern day lingo and tech. So yeah, it's very funny. And the boys are just asking him a million questions like, "How old are you? Like, what's your net worth? You used to be a big deal. Whatever happened to you?" And he basically decides, okay, Mrs. Beakley watched them, puts them in a room, and she gives them marbles. Yeah, it is. Again, it's very diverse, and I like that. And I also like on how this new version of Mrs. Beakley is a tank. She is buffed as crap, so she could obviously take care of her own. And she's not just a cleaning woman. I mean, she does clean, but she can clearly take care of herself. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree, and I do. I just like on how we're gonna see Mrs. Beakley more involved with these adventures. So she's not gonna just stay home and clean and take care of everything while they're gone. So I do like that. Exactly. I just clean for you. That's about it. Yeah, so then we pretty much see that okay, Scrooge McDuck goes into an old room with all these old newspapers and an old suit, and basically just he's basically he's in a state to where okay, the boys finally got to him. Like he says, used to be a big deal. Like whatever happened to me, and so we basically see that okay, he's finally done, and he's gonna start going back on adventures again. Yes, and then also too we see the boys try to escape, and then they get captured by Webby. Yeah, well it's also shown that this she's actually sheltered. She's been sheltered all of her life, and she's never really gone to, be a normal girl. Her grandma she even says that her grandma trained her to prepare for anything. So she really never got to, be a normal girl. So yeah, but I was a little worried. I know a lot of people were worried because oh, she's basically just a new stereotype. She's like Mabel from Gravity Falls. Yeah, because of it, and there are traits of Mabel in her, but it kind of works for Webby here, and we find out that Yeah, she's like that because she's been sheltered all of her life. So I do like on how when we see her, she's just excited that she actually has friends now. Because yeah, it is, and she's basically making good talk with the boys, and then she takes them out of the room that she's in, and they go into and they're sneaking around in the house. And then we cut to a later scene where Scrooge McDuck is trying to get on his old suit, and Mrs. Beakley barges in thinking he's being attacked. And then we basically see that he's going to find the lost city of Atlantis, and Mrs. Beakley's like, "You're doing this just because of those boys, aren't you?" Yes, exactly. And then we see that, okay, he's pretty much being like how Scrooge was in the original, where at first he doesn't need family, because he even says, "I made my fortune by being smarter than the smarties and tougher than the toughies." Exactly. Like, he doesn't need family. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And we basically see the triplets and Webby go into the museum filled with all of these things that Scrooge McDuck has done, even things that the boys talked about, like how he discovered the mystery of the Chupacabra. Turns out it was a shaved bear. He defeated this stone giant and then carved a statue out of himself, and so much more. And of course, yes, and yes, a museum, and we see that, okay, now Dewey is pretty much not a believer of Scrooge McDuck anymore, and they even, yeah, and then we see this photo with Donald Duck and Scrooge back when Scrooge and Donald were partners and going around adventures, which is, yeah, and then we basically see that, okay, like Dewey is just not believing any of this, so then Webby accidentally opens some stuff to show that it's all real, and we see that, okay, this dead pirate comes to life, and this hor- yes, this headless horse, which is kind of self-explanatory, and this sword that flies around until it kills its target. Yeah, and the all of them are in trouble, and then Scrooge McDuck comes in saying, "What are you doing?" And then they all decide, okay, they got to get out of there. And Scrooge McDuck decides, okay, it's four against three. Oh wait, nope, they teamed up. And Scrooge McDuck says, and then Scrooge McDuck decides he's going to take all of them on by himself. Yes, and we get to see him in action, and it's just amazing. This one action sequence is pretty damn good. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And the headless horse gets ahead and thanks Scrooge McDuck, and the sword just goes off somewhere. And then basically Scrooge is mad at all of them, and yeah, sure. I agree. Or maybe it's just a random pirate that got caught. I don't know. I would have liked some mystery on that. I would have liked that mystery to be answered, but it was just there for an action scene, so it served its purpose. Yeah, I agree. But again, too bad we're never gonna find that out. Yeah, yeah, and then basically, yeah, Dewey finally goes off on Scrooge saying, family's nothing but a liability to you, and Scrooge is like, okay, get out, and then he hits the gong that if you hit this gong 3 times, something bad's gonna happen, and previously, it got hit 2 times, and now Scrooge just hit it, and it awakens a golden dragon that will go after gold. Yes, it is. It is the same dragon from the opening intro and even the trailer. So, yeah, and Scrooge, okay, he's going to take care of it. He goes off, and exactly, yes. And Webby and the triplets decide, okay, we're going to help him. So they leave to go, and then also to Launchpad helps by saying, I'm a pilot. So Launchpad gets in on this. And then we actually see something I never thought I would see. Like Scrooge McDuck is riding on a dragon. That's something we never got to see in the old show, which was just awesome. Yeah, exactly. Well, Scrooge in the original was over 150 years old, but this Scrooge, I assume, is probably around the same age. So basically, he's more fit, and which explains why he's able to take down enemies that I don't think the old Scrooge would be able to. Yeah, Shovel Knight. Yes, I no, I was saying, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, probably. Yes. Yeah. Yes, which is just the most awesomest thing ever. And it's here where the animation really shines because the animation for this series is flash animation, and normally some people don't like when people use flash animation because it's cheap, and this is Disney we're talking about, so why they couldn't do hand drawn, I'll never know, but the animation looks amazing, especially when he's on the dragon, like, and you see the dragon is crashing into buildings, and he's like, and he even says it's going to take more than that to get rid of me. It's going to take more than It's going to take more than those bruises to get rid of me. So yes, the dragon is already at his money bin, and it tosses him, and Scrooge is saved by his nephews and Webby, and they come up with a plan on how to stop the dragon. They're going to use a garden hose, and they're going to use this Medusa gauntlet, which if you when you put it on, and if you touch something, it turns to stone. It is, and I would like to know where this Medusa gauntlet came from, but again, we'll never know. So yeah. So then we see, okay, they put their plan into action, and Scrooge touches the dragon right before it's about to eat all of his gold, all of his money, and it works. He falls down and he lands in the money bin and he starts swimming in it. Yes, which is, and we actually get to see him swim in it for the first time in this episode. So yes, then after that, Scrooge is like, okay, so after all this stuff you done, you nearly got me killed twice. You set forth all of these enchantments, and you destroyed my money bin. And he's like, you two kids are trouble. I like you, and he's now they're all good. And he decides, okay, so you guys aren't bad. So I'm gonna teach you how to get out of trouble. I'm gonna take you to the lost city of Atlantis. Yes, I agree, and I like that. So he actually goes through a character arc in this one episode, and that's amazing on how in 23 minutes he goes through a character arc, which the first episode of Scrooge McDuck, it just had him go through the character arc too quickly. Yeah. Yeah, so I like that, and he says, "Okay, so we're gonna go." He even calls Mrs. Beakley, saying, "I'm gonna take all the kids on a field trip and clear my schedule." And she says, "I'm not your secretary." And yes, and he even tells them, "Don't tell your Uncle Donald." And then it ends where Launchpad says, "Who?" So yes, that's the end of episode one. Eh, Yes, Scrooge's enemy, a nemesis from the original series. And I do believe he was in the comics. I could be wrong about that, but yes, Flint Heart Glomgold is back, and oh my goodness, it's so good to hear Glomgold again. It's just nice. So yeah, he hires Donald, and Donald doesn't even realize that. Oh yeah, this is Scrooge's enemy. Yeah, because I don't have a problem with his redesign because I understand, you have to kind of make him more Scottish. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, well, because in the original, I mean, he had no hair and he did wear a kilt, but he didn't have any had a beard, but it wasn't like how it is now. So, I mean, I can understand like, yeah, if you're really going out on adventures, but then again, I mean, Glomgold rarely did most of his dirty work himself. There were times where he would do the dirty work himself, but he would mostly have his henchmen do things for him, like the Beagle Boys or just anybody really. Yeah, so I mean, I don't mind his redesign and it's actually grown on me. And like I said, I mean, I understand, I mean, and the actor who played him, Keith, is actually Scottish. So that's two Scottish people playing two Scottish characters.